I just feel like sharing something with you here. You know, social media clout is not worth your professional license. The reach of social media has revolutionized communication and networking, offering us ways to connect, share insights, and become more visible to the public. While social media has benefited many people, the same things that make social media useful also make it a potential pitfall. Professionalism online is paramount when, with a click of a button, you have the ability to connect to millions of people. Online posts and blogs should be treated even more carefully if you're licensed by IDFPR. Even the most innocuous posts, comments, or interactions on social media platforms can lead to the state digging deeper into your practice and marketing efforts. Amid a license investigation, all your actions and words can be used against you. Your social media engagement may be construed out of context or misconstrued, casting doubt upon your professional abilities. Even innocent statements or snapshots can be contorted to imply unprofessional conduct, thereby putting your license at risk. Amy, I realized you had explicitly told the arresting officer that you were an attorney investigating on Sarah's case. And then later on, you disclosed that you are not an attorney, you are just merely an investigator. And then in some online comments, you have clearly expressed that Sarah was not your client. In fact, you said that Sarah was a potential client and that you were preparing to extract her children, and then you found out that Sarah was alive. You also disclosed that she, in your home, had admitted to threatening a political leader, a judge, and whoever else. You claim that she has solicited murder and that she has threatened you, your family, your job, and your firm on multiple occasions. You say that you have all this evidence. Well, you've also stated that everything she talked about, minus her case, was true. So that means that you were saying that, yes, she, in fact, was telling the truth about many people like Ted Cruz and the Bass family. And, the list is kind of long here, especially, the gentleman who's running for political office there in Amelia County in Virginia. And bam, all of a sudden she has these warrants out of Virginia. Okay. I don't believe your story. In fact, I find a lot of holes in your story. And there's the biggest problem I have is your level of professionalism. You have stated that your professionalism ends at 5 o'clock. That's it. You have no level of professionalism after that. You're allowed to do whatever you want on social media. I've noticed that you have multiple accounts, all of which you can tell because you're making the same exact statements from these different accounts. I'm not really sure why you have I know you have at least 3 accounts. You have one that has a smiley face and you have the 2 Amy Coelho accounts. And so, So in this case, it's interesting to see that you even created this account to basically target Sarah. As an investigator who was a potential investigator on her case, there are a number of things that you have displayed that's very concerning. And, if I was in the market, and whether I have the money or not doesn't really matter, if I were in the market and I had the money to afford your firm, which I've heard you say to multiple people that you probably can't even afford my firm. So here it is. Let's just say that I got all the money in the world. If I saw you and I was in the market to, let's say hire you to investigate something or to come in on a case and go with your firm and you would do the investigations, I absolutely would not hire you. There is a level of unprofessionalism that you are displaying on social media that's very concerning. Number one, you have a 12-year-old child, and I see you on TikTok endlessly commenting. And that in and of itself speaks volumes. Like, why are you neglecting your child? If you're sitting online, I've raised 3 children. There is no possible way I could have paid attention to my children and showed them love and hung out with them sitting on the phone all evening, texting back and forth with multiple people. That would take away from my quality time with my child. Now, it would be understandable if you were just, maybe a couple hours here and there, but no. You say 5 o'clock hits. I had you responding this morning. You were supposedly in the office, so you were actually taking time away from your job to respond to me. And then you further respond to me after you get off work. I think you caught yourself there too, by the way. This is not really about whether or not, who I am, because in the scheme of all things, like I told you earlier, I'm really literally nobody to you, right? The problem is that Facebook, Twitter, Google Chat, whatever it is, let's read this here, because I think you can learn something. The legal community has certainly not escaped the phenomenon of Judicial Conference of the United States has characterized the explosion in social media and social networking as the latest chapter in the evolution of online activities. A 2010 ABA survey revealed that 56% of attorneys belong to at least one online social network. However, the practice of law seems at odds with this information sharing revolution. Lawyers are ethically obligated to guard and to filter the information provided to them. They are bound by duties of confidence and discretion. As a matter of decorum, a lawyer is expected to be thoughtful, reserved, and circumspect. Now again, I realize that you did tell the arresting officer there in Cumberland County that you were an attorney investigating a case. So let's read here. Okay, so the officer called Amy Coelho, who was the individual in the online tip. Amy informed me she was a lawyer but was investigating and trying to locate where Sarah was. Amy informed me she tracked Sarah to this address and believed she would be with a silver vehicle in a driveway. All right, so here it is in this tip. You told the officer. So now you're telling me that Sarah's lying, and then I know that what you're going to say is that this officer lied too. That's pretty coincidental. But the problem we have here is there is, now there's 2 people that you are stating is lying and that you're the one that's telling the truth because you are the professional. There's one really huge problem with this professionalism. So here you state, I'm pretty sure my professionalism ends right before TikTok. You also said that those text messages were admitted into court that she admitted to. Now what? Your Lord approves, and that's why you support her. You just have it different, and you didn't finish that. You also tell me that I'm lying about Sarah's innocence. I'm also lying and supporting a liar. You say I get my facts right before you strike at someone's threats. So, but now we just really have a big problem here because there's now 2 people you're saying is liars. Because online, and let me show you. There's a statement here where you say that they were trying to be kind and they knew they were being filmed. You gave her warrants a week earlier when you told her to stop harassing you. She's being held on real warrants. They already went before the grand jury and indicted. You also say here to stand up for yourself, 23, you're a compulsive liar. I never called the police regarding her harassing or threatening me or my children. I called the police to let them know that you found her. Those warrants were from August of 2022. You met her in September of 2022. Nice try, though. So you were a potential investigator on her case. Your law firm was potentially going to pick her up. You literally went as far as moving this girl into your RV so that you could extract her children from traffickers. And you are an investigator. Amy, you didn't investigate this girl. You just automatically believed this was going on. I'm seeing a problem with this level of professionalism. The same level of professionalism that, that is basically bound by duties of confidence and discretion. Now, this pretty good reading here. I'd look it up if I were you. You have to, let's just read it right here. They are bound by duties of confidence and discretion. As a matter of decorum, a lawyer is expected to be thoughtful, reserved, and circumspect, anything but information impulsive. Given these tensions, the legal community faces a unique challenge to understand the relationship between professionalism and social networking. Though the issue has received some attention in bar journals and practice institutes, the legal scholarship has yet to consider in depth the professional implications of social media and networking. The professionalism aspects of the challenge, which are separate and distinct from its ethical aspects, have been largely overlooked. The legal community would be well served by a dialogue on this topic that addresses how our norms of professionalism have changed or have failed to change. In light of social media and networking, this essay hopes to begin and to advance that conversation. I would like for you to take some time and go to this and read it because, see, I have the ability to discern. And your form of intellectual conversation is constantly calling people liars, attacking them, and you chalk it up to, well, I left my professionalism in the office at 5 o'clock. Hey, take it from me. I was a stripper for years, honey. And also, I'm really good at reading people. Very good at it. In fact, it's so concerning, I'm also going to revert you to Lawfluencers. It's illegal professionalism on TikTok and YouTube. It was posted on the 15th of June, 2023. I think you would benefit from this. It would really help you because anyone, I was in marketing for years, and anyone that would be looking at your firm this would be degrading. It seriously is degrading. Let me show you. So you say the warrants were from August of 2022 and you met her in September of 2022. So you were going to take up her case, you were actually going to extract her children, and then you did a background check on this woman and you found out she was lying. You stated that right here. I might point out, I'm not the only one who's noticing these things. Stand up for yourself, 23. Told you admitted it in your own comments. You're the compulsive liar here, Amy. I'm just reading what the comment says. So TikTok, do not take my video down because I'm not calling anyone any names. I'm just reading a comment. Well, really quick, Enjoy Prison said, what you got for me? I sent the police her address too. So, but that online tip says that Amy Coelho is the one who sent the online tip. And now this Enjoy Prison? Well, what a convenient name, right? But all right, let's look at your comments. So here you say, I just believe evidence, never claims, and I even questioned evidence, but it was stacked against her. Well, you were going to extract her children. You said that yourself, that you were going to extract her children. Yeah, I'll show you. Right here, you said, I do know the death threats and the bomb threat and threat in writing to the judge. She told me when I was looking at her case. So you met her in September of 2022, and she specifically told you. You also state that you had her on tape in your living room. Right here, I know for a fact she threatened opposing counsel on a recorded line because she admitted it to me in my living room and office camera. She knew. Well, now you have a conflicting statement, Amy. Because right here, you said, nope, I didn't, and I didn't know she was wanted until July 2023. You gave the police her location after she was warned to stop. She didn't. And so you followed it up with calling her in. So here's the problem. You're an investigator. Out of your own mouth, you say you're an investigator. So, Amy, if you're an investigator who was going to extract her children from her house, you say here she's absolutely 90% right, but she's lying about her case. The evidence is clear. You also go on to say that you won't let her threaten you or your children, the children that you neglect while you're sitting on TikTok all evening after work. I also should point out that you say again, I believe what she exposes is definitely the truth. She just made the mistake and threatened me when I didn't agree with her over her case. You also say that you didn't work on her documents ever. That was Carrie Cook, and you do support Ken Paxton, and that until you see evidence that he is, all of that is hearsay at this point. You do go on to say that if you don't believe what Sarah believes, she will attack you. But you do go into detail and you say that she knew 8/18/23, which, by the way, I do recall it, correspondence that she came out with, and the correspondence that she showed us was not what you're talking about. But anyways, and you said that you sent it to her August 18, 2023 about the warrants because you emailed them to her to stop harassing us. That's not what the email stated. She actually did a video over it. You guys reported it and had it taken down. She knew when she made this video she had fugitive warrants. All right? I'll just take notes. But you say right here, she was blinded by narcissistic injury and threatened me one more time, and I told the law firm it's cheaper to find her than to sue her. So it took me 2 weeks to find her. As I was locating her, she was still threatening me and the firm the same day I called it in. Literally, all she had to do was just leave me, my children, and my job alone. Literally, that was all she had to do. So you knew that this girl had warrants, and you're an investigator. You weren't going to say anything. You were going to stay silent on it until she threatened you again. Aren't you a professional until 5 p.m.? You say right here you can't threaten people or judge or opposing counsel. You just can't, no matter how guilty you think they are. Also, you don't have to prove anything. I'm not involved in a criminal case at all. I was involved in her custody case, which she solicited me to extract her children in August of 2022, around the same time. I mean, we have a problem. You said you met her in September, and I have the evidence right here. Like, I removed these, put them on a flash drive, and I have them on my persons, and they will not leave my persons. They will get printed out, and they will be mailed out. See, you're not telling the truth, Amy, and this is not an attack. This is a literal warning that it's you that's making your own online personal persona. And I have the evidence.